Hello, hello, testing, 1 2 1 2. Ah, brilliant, it is working. Good day, one and all, and to one and all a good day, and welcome to episode 6 of the Speedy Stuff podcast, and in turn, the third and final episode of the open parentheses, not so, close parentheses, Speedy Reminiscing mini-series, which I'm sure you'll be very pleased to see the back end of. I know I will be. So yes, in this episode of the podcast, as I'm sure the opening sound effect gave away, we are going to be discussing possibly one of the best science fiction television shows in the world, if not the best science fiction television show in the world, the definitive science fiction television show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to cast your minds back to Great Britain. The date is November the 23rd, 1963, and around about 7 to 7:30 in the evening, the BBC broadcasted the first episode of what would soon be a runaway success, a cultural phenomenon, if you will. And again, if you recognise that opening sound effect, you will know exactly what that cultural phenomenon is. The absolutely spectacular mind fuck of a science fiction television show that is Doctor Who. Oh my god. Seriously, all joking aside, I love Doctor Who. Doctor Who was one of those shows that not only made me realise that I enjoyed science fiction related TV shows and films, but it also made me realise that the most enjoyable aspect of science fiction for me was always going to be the aspect of the possibility of time travel. Because let's be honest, the concept of time travel has boggled scientists for eons now. You could go as far as arguing that time travel has boggled scientists since the dawn of time. Ha 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 ha. Jim, that joke was fucking awful. Sorry, Jim is still here. He's still mute, God bless him. But yeah, Jim, that is a very rude hand gesture, please. Anyway, but yes, Doctor Who is... It is such a good show, and to be perfectly honest, I'm slowly looking around my bedroom now, which is where I record all the episodes of the Speedy Stuff podcast, as well as all the videos on my main channel. Shameless plug, link is in the description. But, unless you're watching this on the main channel, in which case, welcome! But yeah, all joking aside, I'm looking around my bedroom now, and I'm slowly realising how much of a shut-in I am for all the Doctor Who memorabilia that I'm seeing. I've got something like 10 TARDIS models and something like 11 sonic screwdrivers, including the sonic screwdriver that my David Tennant action figure comes with. So, you know, Doctor Who is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of those guilty pleasure science fiction television shows that you don't have to feel such a dork about for watching, because you know millions, maybe even billions of other people around the world also watch it and geek out just as much about it as you do, which is spectacular, because Doctor Who is this incredible show that just opens the doors to friendships and relationships, and in some occasions even marriages, I believe, which is phenomenal that you can get married off of just having the one television show in common. I think that's phenomenal. But yes, so anyways, the point is that for this episode of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be discussing Doctor Who as it came back in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston playing the role of the Doctor. Chances are I will go back later into the history of Doctor Who for a previous episode? Yes, well done, brain. For a future episode of the podcast. There we go. I can sentence. I promise. I can sentence. I went to a school and everything. Can you believe that? Anyway. Oh dear. But yes. Doctor Who. Doctor Who came back in 2005. It's ran originally from 1963 to, I believe, round about 1989-ish, somewhere along those lines. And then a direct-to-TV movie came out in, funny enough, the same year I was born, 1996, which featured Paul McGann playing the Doctor, one-off. That was based in San Francisco, I seem to recall. And it all had something to do with the New Year's celebration of the new millennium, and it got a bit convoluted. The Master was in there, the Eye of Harmony, which is a big structural piece of the TARDIS, was also involved. It was neither here nor there, to be perfectly honest. And then, for whatever reason, the BBC looked at it, probably because of the shit ratings the film got, and thought, yeah, let's give this show some time to die down, and then we'll come back to it at a later point. Kind of sort of like how the BBC and Channel 5 treated Robot Wars. More the BBC than Channel 5, I'll admit, but that was a completely different episode of the podcast. Shameless plug, link in the description below. No, stop it, Lewis. Stop it. Anyways, yes. What was it I was saying? Oh yes, the Doctor Who hiatus. That went on for 9 years, and then round about sort of late 2004 to early 2005, the BBC started producing a whole new season of Doctor Who. Hallelujah, frickin' Luia, some hot, fresh, off the press Doctor Who action. The first time Doctor Who had been on our television screens in 9 years. Finally, a dream that had seemed like a lost inevitability post Doctor Who the movie was now becoming a reality. And yeah, we actually got a bit of an interesting cast to play the Doctor and his first companion. In the form of the Doctor, we had Christopher Eccleston. In the form of his companion, we had Billie Piper, who played the role of Rose Tyler, who was supposed to be 19 years old, which is a bit creepy when you take into account that at the time of Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, the Doctor was knocking on the door of 900. Yeah, doesn't sound creepy at all, does it? Run. But yeah, and so that happened. I can't give you a date, unfortunately, for when the first episode broadcast, but I was there, I watched it. I was 9 years old when Doctor Who came back, ladies and gentlemen. 9 years old. God, I feel old! Oh my god. It's astounding how old I have felt just from recording this reminiscing mini-series. It really honestly is. I made myself feel old with the first episode of the open parentheses, not so closed parentheses, Speedy Reminiscing mini-series, and now I'm doing it here as well. I need to stop doing that. It's not good. But yes, I was there from start to finish for that entire first season, and then Christopher Eccleston regenerated into the godsend that was David Tennant. So that was pretty cool. And then, of course, we saw David Tennant properly in the 2005 Doctor Who Christmas special, which was titled The Christmas Invasion, where the Doctor battled the Sycorax, I believe it was. And, yeah, David Tennant lost his hand. His entire left hand, I think it was, just shing, straight off. It plummeted to the ground. And then Captain Jack Harkness found and preserved it, which, but that was for the next few seasons. So yes, new face, same TARDIS interior, same sonic screwdriver design, and same companion, which, to be fair, I didn't really mind. You have to remember, when David Tennant came along in Doctor Who, I was 10. Alright, I was 10 years old when David Tennant's first full season of Doctor Who began. And I was really excited for it. I really honestly was. I was looking forward to it. I liked what I saw with Christopher Eccleston's season. I will admit, I didn't think much of Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. I think he may or may not have taken the role just a bit too seriously, because I haven't rewatched his season as of late, but from what I can recall of it, there were very few moments where he actually stopped to analyse the situation and laugh about some aspects of said situation. But yes, that happened. And then what? Oh yes. Fast forward then to the season 2 finale. We had the bitch fight of Canary Wharf. The Daleks versus the Cybermen. They finally butted heads and it was fucking amazing. Of course, I didn't know what the Cybermen were up to this point. As soon as the Cybermen were introduced in the two-parter, in the alternate dimension, I just went, so what? They're just like, I don't know, machined knights? I was 10. Shut up. I'd never heard of the Cybermen. I'd never heard of the Daleks either until the season 1 episode Dalek, which was, holy fuck, that was terrifying, was that episode. Jesus. But yes. And then Billy Piper got trapped in the alternate dimension. I still cry every time that episode is on a rerun and I sit down and watch it. That end scene where the Doctor gets split from Rose as they're having their final message on that beach in Norway. I cry every time, mate. I cry every time. I'm not afraid to deny that. I'm not afraid to hide it. I cry every time. I really honestly do. And then we got Catherine Tate, which... what was the point of her being in the 2006 Christmas special again? I get that she was there predominantly for comic relief, but we already had comic relief in the form of David Tennant. He took the role seriously like Christopher Eccleston did, but simultaneously he didn't take it as seriously as Eccleston did. Which is a good thing. It meant that we got to have more funny moments with David Tennant's Doctor in one episode than we did with Christopher Eccleston's Doctor for an entire bloody season. So, yeah, and again, Catherine Tate came along in... I think the Christmas special was called The Runaway Bride, which, from what I can recall, it was an okay Christmas special from what I can recall. I seem to recall Donna kept thinking that the Doctor was from Mars. That was, I feel like that was a bit of a forced, comic relief there, to be perfectly honest. But, yeah, details. What happened then? Oh yes, Season 3, which was broadcast in 2007, the same year Michael Bay decided to butcher many a childhood. Well, I say Michael Bay butchered many a childhood, Paramount butchered many a childhood. Thanks for that, Paramount. I can never look at Optimus Prime in the same way again. And we got Martha Jones, played by, and I hope I don't butcher her name, Freema Agyeman, I think it's pronounced. I'm not entirely sure. I could never nail the pronunciation of her name. And I apologise to those of you who can pronounce her name flawlessly. I'm just a pleb. A pleb who lives in the hometown of Doctor Who, I'll admit, but a pleb nonetheless. So yes. No, I'm not even kidding, actually. Torchwood Water Tower is something like a 25-minute bus ride from where I live. Woohoo! Anyway, but yes, speaking of Torchwood Tower, we got to see Jack again in Season 3 of Doctor Who. John Barrowman came back, and I actually liked how they introduced John Barrowman for the three-parter finale for Season 3, because it linked directly off of the last few moments of the Torchwood Season 1 finale. Yes, I was 11. Yes, I watched Torchwood. Yes, I'm aware of the fact that Torchwood was rated 18. Shut it. I wanted to watch it. I did watch it. I fucking loved it. We need more Torchwood. That's not the point. The point is, though, is that they wove the ending of the Torchwood Season 1 finale and the opening scene of Season 3 Episode 11 into one another. so that you knew that they were part of the same continuity, and they did it spectacularly. And actually, no, all jokes aside, we could do with having John Barrowman back in Doctor Who. Fucking entire new Torchwood, we could just do with John Barrowman being back in a science fiction television show, full stop. But yes, and then, the season 3 finale. If you haven't watched any of these episodes of Doctor Who, by the way, what the fuck have you been doing with your lives? Go. Find your nearest CEX, or find the cheapest Doctor Who DVD box set that you can on eBay, buy it, watch it, and fucking love it, because everyone else does. But yes, the season 3 finale, we got the return of the Master. First played by, I believe it was Jonathan Jacoby, who played Professor Yana, fucking brilliantly, actually. And then we were introduced to John Sim as the Master. Yes. Oh my god, the BBC couldn't have cast a more better person to play the role of the Master ever. And then he manipulated the human race into making us think he was the British Prime Minister, and there was the 4 beats thing, the and I kid you not, actually, as soon as that 3-parter finished broadcasting, that's all my mum and my sister would do just to wind me up. Because, actually, no, I'm not going to divulge into why they did it to wind me up. But, yeah, they did it to wind me up. And, and then they killed him. And then they killed John Sim, which... never make me watch an upset David Tennant ever again. I bawled my fucking eyes out. The feels. But it's all good because he came back. That's for later in the episode. Anyway, then we got another Christmas special, and what was this one called? I think it was Voyage of the Damned. I think I'm correct in saying the one with Kylie Minogue on the space Titanic. And it actually really was just that. It was basically a condensed version of the Titanic. The twist here, though, is that the ship wasn't threatening to hit an iceberg, it was threatening to hit Buckingham Palace. I mean, it didn't. And holy shit, even Her Majesty the Queen of England acknowledged the Doctor, so holy shit, the Queen is a Doctor Who fan. I mean, no, hang on. No, I just addressed the Queen. I mean, goodness gracious me, Her Majesty is also a fan of Doctor Who. Spiffing choice, ma'am. I'm not a royalist. I would like to point that one out. But yes, and then we had season 4 of Doctor Who, which again saw the return of Catherine Tate, which was unusual actually because she was the first recurring Doctor Who companion that we had since Sarah Jane Smith in the third episode of season 2, which was aptly titled School Reunion. And not only did we get reintroduced to Sarah Jane Smith, but we also got reintroduced to one of my favourite Doctor Who companions of all time. K9! Yes! We got to see K9 again. Woo! K9, 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 K9. Sorry. What can I say? I fucking love K9. He's an awesome character. Unfortunately, though, Elizabeth Sladen is she's unfortunately no longer with us. May she rest in peace. It is more than safe to say she's in a better place. But yes, and they actually made a return. They actually tied in Doctor Who and its it's 2 spin-off television shows, 3 actually if you count K9 and Company, into one big episode in the form of the Doctor Who season 4 finale, which was great. We had a little bit of Doctor Who in there, we had a little bit of extremely watered down Torchwood, and we had the Sarah Jane Adventures. Yes, yes, yes! This was brilliant for me, especially when you take into account that every Monday and every Tuesday during, I think it was like my first term back at school, so the term that starts in September, I would walk in, I would drop my school bag to the floor, I would say, fuck you homework, I'm watching the Sarah Jane Adventures. And I did. I followed every single episode, and I absolutely loved it. I really, honestly did. And then I found out that Elizabeth Sladen passed away, and that made me extremely upset, because not only was she the titular character of one of my favourite sort of more kid-friendly science fiction television shows, but she also played one of my all-time favourite classic-era Doctor Who companions. And the fact that she's no longer with us, it's a crying shame. I'm not going to lie, the fact that Elizabeth Sladen is no longer with us, again, may she rest in peace, it's a crying upset. She's, yeah, she is missed more than I think she would have realised. Which you could argue is a good thing. You know, you could argue that means that's great, because her character had a cult following, and indeed, you know, her character did have a cult following. But yeah, she sorely missed is Elizabeth Sladen. She really, really is. But again, given the state of the world currently, it is more than safe to say that she is in a better place. I'm sorry, that actually got quite depressing. I do apologise. But yes, getting back to the season 4 finale, we got to see basically a bit of the 3 big Doctor Who science fiction shows. Obviously, again, Doctor Who being the lead in this point. And we also got to see Davros as well in the season 4 finale. We got to see Davros, which was brilliant. Because, holy cow, Davros is a creepy looking mofo. Holy shit. I would be awful as a radio presenter, I now realise, because every other word out of my mouth is a curse word. Oh dear. But yes. And then I'm just trying to remember what happened after that. Because I think they went into, like... Actually, I'm trying to remember. Did they go into a Christmas special directly after season 4? God, did they? Shit, I should have booted up Wikipedia before I did this. I'm gonna say yes. I couldn't tell you what the Christmas special was. Oh, no, wait, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. They kept hinting at David Tennant's departure. That's what they did. They kept hinting at David Tennant's departure at the end of the 4th season, which sucked. Then we glossed over the Christmas special of 2008, I think. Again, I can't remember. And then we got 3 sort of like seasonal specials for Doctor Who. We had an Easter special, which took place on a sand planet, and it had a flying double-decker bus, and also actually a cameo from one of my favourite, from one of my favourite comedians of all time, a comedian named Lee Evans, who my mum and I meant to go and see live on what was his last tour before retirement, and we missed it. Although actually, to the BBC's credit, they actually toyed with the idea of giving his character a spin-off series, which I would have fucking loved. Malcolm, I think his character was called. And I fucking loved Malcolm's character. He was... we need more Malcolm in Doctor Who. You know, Lee Evans has retired from stand-up comedy now. There's plenty of opportunities for him to make a cameo in Doctor Who. Or Torchwood. You know, he could get roped into work with Torchwood. seeing as how he's already worked with Unit. So, yes. What was it I was saying? Oh yeah, we had an Easter special, which again featured a cameo from Lee Evans and a flying double-decker bus. We had the Halloween special, The Waters of Mars, which was... oh, holy shit, that was creepy. That was fucking creepy. I can remember they actually did a piece about it in one of the local papers, and I got given the piece as a memento. And I showed my sister, who was... let me think, this was in 2009, so she would have been 8. I showed her the article, and one of the pictures in the article was of one of the antagonists, I guess you could argue, for the Waters of Mars special, and I kid you not, she stood there and metaphorically shat herself. She really honestly did. I have never seen her metaphorically shit herself more quick in my entire life. So, yeah. And then we had the Christmas two-parter, The Last of the Time Lords, I believe it was called, where, again, we got to see John Sim coming back to continue his role of the Master. And we also actually got to see Timothy Dalton play the role of the Time Lord President, which was really interesting because I saw him for the first time dressed up as the Time Lord President, and I thought, fucking hell, they've got James Bond in this. Fun fact, actually, for those of you who don't know, Timothy Dalton did actually play James Bond for like 2 movies, which is a lot better than John Lazenbeek, I believe he was called, who was only in the 1 James Bond movie. I digress. But yeah, and we got possibly the most tear-jerking line ever in Doctor Who history, and that line was simply, "I don't want to go," delivered beautifully by David Tennant. And the really annoying thing as well is that the second half of that Christmas special actually broadcast on, I think it was New Year's Day 2010. Thanks, BBC, just what I always wanted on my 14th birthday. Feels! Courtesy of Doctor Who. Thanks, BBC. Thanks. But yeah, I can remember we were actually up at my grandparents' place when we watched it the first time. And I can remember we all saw David Tennant regenerate into the lovable buffoon that is Matt Smith. And I can remember I sat there and I thought, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I will admit a manly tear was shed, though, in memory of David Tennant's Doctor, because David Tennant was the shit. He really honestly was. And then, you know, as I said, we got the lovable idiot that was Matt Smith to play the role of the Doctor for Season 5, and we got introduced to Amelia Pond, who was played by Karen Gillan. Fun fact, actually, young Amelia Pond, when Matt Smith's Doctor first meets her in the episode The 11th Hour, that was actually Karen Gillan's... I'm trying to remember now. It was either her niece or her cousin. It was one or the other, which was phenomenal. You know, family ties all around. But, Amy Pond was a fucking amazing companion. Not only because she sort of grounded Matt Smith's Doctor a little bit, not only because she had a just as bumbling buffoon for a boyfriend in the form of Rory, played by Arthur Darvill, but she's a redhead. Oh, I say she's a redhead. She was a redhead. She completely shaved her hair to play the role of Gamora. No, not Gamora. Shit, what's the name of Gamora's sister in Guardians of the Galaxy? Her. The point is she played Blue Gamora, basically. And yeah, and redheads are awesome. Some of my best friends in high school were redheads. I actually had a crush on a redhead in high school. I'm not afraid to admit that. I actually had a friend who slept with said girl. Her brother was fucking annoyed with him. dear. Memories. Hey, that's why it's called Speedy Reminiscing. Da-da, hey! Shit. Have I really just admitted to the internet that I've got a soft spot for redheads? Yes, I have. Well done, brain. Well done. It's only taken me 30 minutes. But yeah, and... who watching seasons 5, 6 and the first half of season 7 didn't fall in love with Amy Pond and Rory Reid? Who didn't fall in love with them? Seriously, I wanted them to stay until the end of the season. And then they both died from Weeping Angels. It was so upsetting. I fucking cried then as well. Because, you know, they were such wonderful characters, and then they just got written off like they never existed. It sucked so much. But yeah, I'm actually gonna, on that note, rewind back to season 3 a minute, because season 3 was actually when we were introduced to the Weeping Angels. People say that the Daleks and / or the Cybermen are the scariest Doctor Who villains ever. Nah. Nah, that crown has been taken royally by the Weeping Angels. Those fuckers are terrifying. I actually, for my 21st birthday, went to the Doctor Who experience with my family, and part of the experience was where you actually walked through the forest on the Byzantium from season 5, and they had all the Weeping Angels scattered about. I fucking shit myself. Although, to be fair, so did my sister, so, you know, I wasn't the only one who needed a fresh change of underwear post-Doctor Who experience. Thank you, sis. But yeah, anyways, and then, talking of season 7, possibly the biggest pet peeve of the Doctor Who franchise to date was introduced in season 7 at the very first episode of season 7. Clara Oswin Oswald. Jim, get me my laser screwdriver. I'm ending it now. But yeah, God. Why? Why was Jenna Louise Coleman roped into it? She did fuck all to advance the plot in any episode that she was in. And the scriptwriters knew it. They knew that Jenna Louise Coleman's character did nothing to advance the plot. They fucking knew it. I mean, I get it. They were trying to test our loyalty. I get that. Simultaneously, I get that they were also trying to test the loyalty of EastEnders fans. Because apparently Jenna Louise Coleman was also in EastEnders, which, to be perfectly honest, EastEnders can go and fuck itself as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, Mum. But, and Nan, actually, for that matter. Sorry. But yeah, why was she introduced into Doctor Who? I could honestly make an entire separate episode of the podcast just ranting about why I hated Clara Oswin Oswald as a character. I really honestly could. I mean, she was the biggest Deus Ex Machina to ever Deus Ex Machina'd. I mean... Why was she introduced? A lot of people have actually said that Stephen Moffat, who was at the time the lead scriptwriter for Doctor Who, just had this massive fan boner for Jenna Louise Coleman going on every time he wrote her into a script of Doctor Who. Because it might not just be me and practically everyone else who watches Doctor Who with a keen eye who has noticed this, but ever since Jenna Louise Coleman got introduced as Clara Oswin Oswald in Doctor Who from the season 7 prologue up to when she left in the season 9 finale, all the episodes slowly started to revolve around more about Clara as opposed to the Doctor, the TARDIS, and all the adventures that they got up to. Suddenly, Doctor Who became the Clara Oswald show. I ain't taking that one sitting down, BBC. No one was. So you can only imagine how relieved we were when she decided to leave at the end of season 9. Along with Matt Smith, I'll admit. But, actually, no. When did Clara leave? Yeah, it was at the end of season 9. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Turn your fucking car alarm off, Jim! Thank you. Where was I? Oh yes, Clara! That bitch! Ugh. Oh god, everyone and their wives hated Clara so much. We really honestly did. Which sucked because I think, this is going to sound like a stab in the dark when I say this, but I think had the show kept its focus, which was to pretty much cover everything that was going on in the episode and not just the antics of the companion, I think Jenna Louise Coleman would have been a much better accepted companion. I really honestly do. So, I mean, think about it. Every companion that the Doctor had prior to Jenna Louise Coleman had been received brilliantly and with open arms. You know, Billie Piper, she was welcomed with open arms. Freema Agyeman, she was welcomed with open arms. Catherine Tate, welcomed with open arms. Arthur Duvall and Karen Gillan, welcomed with open arms. Jenna Louise Coleman, we basically told the BBC to go and do one. We stuck our proverbial middle finger up and told the BBC to spin on it. It's just a shame it took the BBC 3 years to get the message, really. But yes, and then, as I just said, Matt Smith left, which sucked, because suddenly that left the limelight all on Clara. Even with Peter Capaldi playing the role of the Doctor, the limelight for the most part was still on Clara. They were still massaging her lack of ego. However, though, before Matt Smith did leave, we did get the 50th anniversary episode of Doctor Who, which was titled The Day of the Doctor, which I actually got to see in cinemas on the 50th anniversary date of Doctor Who, which was November the 23rd, 2013, and fuck me, that was nearly 4 years ago? Wow, I feel old! Anyway, but yes, I got to see it in the cinemas because there was a limited cinema screening time over the weekend of the 50th anniversary, and I fucking loved it. They're here, all 12 Doctors are here. No, sir. All 13, and it just shows that one clip of Peter Capaldi. And I kid you not, we were sitting in the auditorium, me and a couple of friends of mine. We were sitting in the auditorium watching it, and they showed that one brief clip of Peter Capaldi, and I kid you not, the auditorium lost its shit. It really honestly did. People were whooping, people were applauding, people were actually standing up from their seats and giving it all, yes! It was amazing. Anyways, yes, fast forward. But yes, Matt Smith left, Peter Capaldi came in. Again, the BBC were trying to test our allegiance as Doctor Who fans. I slugged it out. I slugged out the entirety of Jenna Louise Coleman and Peter Capaldi. So suck my committed dick, BBC. Suck my committed dick. And actually, for that matter, suck the proverbial committed dick of the entire Doctor Who community. The entire Doctor Who fan community. You cannot try and test our allegiance to the show twice in about the space of 2 years. That's not on. Anyway, it's not like anyone from the BBC is listening to this, so I can rant and rave all I wish. Fuck you, BBC! There we go. I apologise as well for any headphone users. I am so sorry. But yes, I have to actually wrap this up pretty soon because my laptop is threatening to die. But But yes, Peter Capaldi came along. He came, he saw, he kind of sort of conquered. There was that one stupid stint he had with the Sonic sunglasses, which was a mistake. And then the fact that we were all just expected to believe. Sorry, I'm going back to Jenna Louise Kong with this. We had to buy into the bullshit that apparently Clara had been part of the Doctor's life since he left Gallifrey. No! No, BBC, no! You can't just expect to introduce this companion that you suddenly decide the show has to revolve around, only for you to then try and shove it down our throats that she was involved with every incarnation of the Doctor. You know, she apparently told William Hartnell's Doctor to steal the TARDIS back on Gallifrey. Bullshit! I am not accepting that, BBC, and I never will. In fact, no one in the Doctor Who fan community will ever accept that. And do you know why? Nobody will accept that, BBC. Do you know why? Nobody's going to accept that. I'm going to get real nice and close to the microphone so I can really creep you all out. Do you know why none of us in the Doctor Who fan community are going to accept that, BBC? It's because it's bullshit. And they knew it was. They knew it was bullshit. They were just thinking, quick, we need a season finale, what are we going to do? I don't know, force the companion down the fan base's throats, that'll make them happy. At least we'll have a script. Fucking hell. So yes, Clara left, thank fuck, with Maisie Williams in a TARDIS that was disguised as a 1950s American diner. I don't understand that. Also, by the way, Maisie Williams' character was a fucking bitch! What was it with Matt Smith's final season and Peter Capaldi's first season having two massive limelight-hogging bitches? Seriously, what? Why? And no. So yes, that happened, and then we got introduced to Bill Potts, played by Pearl Mackie, who, fun fact actually, and I believe I'm correct in saying this, she actually played the show's first homosexual companion. Which, you know, sexual choice equality, I can get behind that. In more than one context, ladies, gentlemen, what? But yes, and, Pearl Mackie was an okay companion from what I can recall of her. Obviously, of course, you know, all the shock sort of when we saw that Bill had been turned into a Mondasian Cyberman for the finale. But the good news is that she returned to human. She came back as a human, I think. I can't remember. But yes, and now we're all just waiting on this year's Christmas special where we get introduced to Jodie Whittaker, the first female actress to play the role of the Doctor. And I actually had it spoiled for me because my sister decided to blurt it out, because they were showing it after a live final of the Wimbledon tennis matches. My sister had already watched it on YouTube because the BBC had already uploaded the reveal trailer, and Bethan just goes, "Oh yeah, she," and then she immediately shut up. She just went, "She," and I just looked at her. And I tell you what, if looks could kill, I would have been arrested for murder. Because I gave my sister such a stinking look after she unintentionally, albeit, revealed the gender of Peter Capaldi's replacement. I just went, "What?" And she just went, I'm so sorry, pretend I didn't say that." I went, "Bullshit, I can't pretend you said that." You know, I had the surprise ruined for me. But yes, we've got Jodie Whittaker now playing the role of Peter Capaldi's replacement, which, I think it could be interesting. I will admit I do like the direction that this year's Christmas special is going for, because we get to see William Hartnell's Doctor again. Granted, it isn't played by William Hartnell, because unfortunately William Hartnell has long since been not with us. but he's actually being reprised by the same actor who played William Hartnell in the Doctor Who Making documentary, which was called A Journey Through Time and Space, I think it was called. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's a beautiful story about how William Hartnell came on board to become the Doctor, how Doctor Who as a concept turned into a television show, all the heartache that William Hartnell's Doctor went through, the fact that he himself didn't want to leave when his contract had expired. Please, seriously, go and watch A Journey in Time and Space, because it is an absolutely beautiful documentary and you will fall in love with it. It really honestly is. So yeah, that should be interesting. And then of course, you know, Peter Capaldi's regeneration was hinted at in the season 10 finale, so no pun intended, but time will tell. Anyways, that's it from me, because my laptop is still threatening to die. Thank you all very, very much for listening, for slugging out actually what is to date the longest episode of the Speedy Stuff podcast. I will see you all in a fortnight. Say goodbye, Jim. Jim has just waved at the mic. He means goodbye, really. But yes, until episode 7, see you all in a fortnight. Or in a week, depending if I decide to upload a new video between here and then. Ta-ra!